وسهلا بكل الذين ينضموا للاستماع إلى راديو بلدي أول راديو عربي أمريكي ويعنى بقضايا العرب في المهجر. برامجنا في راديو بلدي كل يوم جمعة من 8 وحتى 9 صباحا في بث حي ومباشر عبر WNZK راديو 690 AM. صباح الخير بلدي، صباح الخير لكل مستمعينا.
Welcome to Radio Baladi, the first Arab, Middle Eastern, and American simulcast radio show. Radio Baladi is broadcast every Friday morning on WNZK 690 AM from 8 until 9 Eastern Time on Good Morning Michigan. Our call-in number 248-557-3300. And now, stay tuned for the best radio talk show on Arab and American issues.
Radio Melody listeners, this is Adel Mozip welcoming you to the show. We are live today, coming to you only 4 days away from the elections. Tuesday, August the 2nd, we will have the Michigan primary, which will determine a lot of races in this, or perhaps a lot of officials who will be elected essentially in August. Because in some areas, you're the only person running for that nomination. We have a partisan election this August. You will have to split your ballot. You cannot cross-check. You cannot go from one party to another. Today, we're going to be live on Facebook. We will have Representative Aiyash, Ibrahim Aiyash from Hamtramck joining us today. And we also will have candidate for governor, Mr. Kevin Rinke, join this program as well. So stay tuned. This program is going to be lit. We're going to have also answering all of your questions about the ballot. So if you have any questions, we're welcome to help here. We're going to show you the ballot race by race and discover and discuss with you all of the hot races in Michigan that is happening this Tuesday. You can already vote from right now. So this Saturday, many of the clerks are open. Make your way into the clerk office if you're not going to be available to vote on Tuesday. Tuesday is the last day to vote in this primary. All right. Going live on Facebook right now. So bear with me. There you go. Let's take a commercial break while we get our guests and also get our ballot for Facebook for those who are tuning in. So let's take a commercial break. We'll be back.
Huwaida Araf is running for Congress in the new 10th district, which includes cities where the Arab Chaldean presence is strong. A Christian Arab from Palestine, Huwaida is a civil rights attorney and a longtime champion of rights for all people, including Arabs and Chaldeans, here in the United States and around the world. Visit HuwaidaForCongress.com to get more information on her candidacy and why she needs your support in the upcoming August primary. Give your vote a voice and help elect a representative of and an advocate for our communities. Vote for Huwaida Araf on August 2nd or by absentee ballot.
Imagine you're on a train track. Somewhere miles away, a train is headed your way. You can't see it yet, but it's coming, slowly but surely. If you have prediabetes or you're at risk for type 2 diabetes, you may be on the wrong track, and diabetes could be heading your way. Bit by bit, the danger is getting closer and closer. So should you stay on the track you're on now or move to make a change and reduce your risk? If you have prediabetes or you're at risk for type 2 diabetes, you may qualify for the National Diabetes Prevention Program in your local community. This one-year program could be the ongoing support you need to put you on the right track. Not only did participants lose weight, they cut their risk of type 2 diabetes in half. Ready to get on board for a healthier future? Learn more about the National Diabetes Prevention Program and what else you can do to manage and prevent diabetes at michigan.gov/diabetes. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
When it comes to reproductive medicine, IVF Michigan Fertility Centers are the recognized leaders. With locations in Bloomfield Hills and 5 other cities in Michigan and Ohio, IVF has experts in all aspects of the field. As a founding member of IVF Michigan Fertility Centers, Dr. Nicholas Shama is one of the leading reproductive endocrinologists in Michigan and Ohio. Dr. Shama has performed over 10,000 IVF cases and has helped thousands of couples fulfill their dreams of parenthood. American board certified in both obstetrics and gynecology and reproductive endocrinology and infertility, Dr. Nicholas Shama is a very caring, compassionate, expert physician that understands not only the medical but also the emotional toil of infertility on his patients. When it's time, get personalized care from Dr. Nicholas Shama at IVF Michigan Fertility Centers in Michigan and Ohio. Call toll-free 855-952-9600, 855-952-9600. Kashat's Mediterranean Market in Shish Kebab offers a great array of your favorite Mediterranean meals. Meals range from lamb specialties, shawarma sandwiches, and seafood dinners. Plus, they offer big trays of your favorite food and so much more. Kashat's Mediterranean Market in Shish Kebab is located at 32839 Northwestern Highway in Farmington Hills and is open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So stop in or call Kashat's today at 248-538-9552. That number again, 248-538-9552. Kashat's Mediterranean Market in Shish Kebab will definitely leave you satisfied.
And welcome back, U.S. Arab Radio listeners on Radio Melody. This is Adel Mozip welcoming you back to the show. Today, we're talking about the August primary in Michigan. Voters will be heading to the polls. They will select their party nominations. They will also select, sometimes depends where you live, there are proposals on the ballot. So I promised all of our listeners that I will be doing this display of what's on your ballot. I know many of you go to the ballot and be like, what should I vote at the voting booth? And it's very important to know the different races that you might be selecting and which one would you select first. So the first things is that, let me share my screen here. For those who are viewing on Facebook, you'll be seeing the screen, and this is vote411.org. Vote411.org is a service by the League of Women Voters, a nonpartisan guide, impartial guide to all the voters to select their different, to see information about the different races. So if you live in Dearborn, you will have a race that is very hot. You have 3 candidates who are running for this position. You have Mr. Walter Ipps, as well as Miss Joanne Merriweather, as well as the incumbent, Mr. Raphael Washington. So if you are in Wayne County, you will see this on your ballot. To know more about each candidate, you will have to click on each one and compare one. This is one of the hottest races that I see contested. Mr. Washington was appointed after Mr. Benny Napoleon passed away, and now he holds that position. However, it is definitely a hot election between Mr. Ipps and Mr. Washington for this nomination. And as I mentioned, if you win this one, then you're most likely going to be the Wayne County Sheriff, because there are no Republicans running for this position. So you have to keep in mind that if you're going to vote Democrat, you're going to stay Democrat the whole time. And if you're going to vote Republican, you will vote Republican the whole time. After you select this, there is the next race. I live in the U.S. District 12. Currently, my representative is Debbie Dingle. So, but we had redistricting. So this has changed. And we have now Kelly Garrett, Chanel Jackson, Rashida Tlaib, who is a current Congresswoman, Janice Winfrey, who is a current Detroit City Clerk, Stephen Elliott on the Republican side, James Hopper, and Hassan Nahmi. So if you are voting Democrat, you have three choices between Kelly Garrett, Chanel Jackson, and also Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib. Seems like Congresswoman is the only one who provided answers to the League of Women Voters, but you can always Google the other names to know more about them. The other candidates, if you are on the Republican side, then you will also have to research who these guys are. I honestly do not know much, only about Hassan because he is from Dearborn Heights. I've seen some posts for him. It would be a good idea to also look him up. All right, Michigan State Senate. Also another race that is low-key because there are no real competitors. You have Mr. Maurice Sanders challenging Sylvia Santana. I believe Ms. Santana is going to win this race, but she has only one challenger on the Democrat side. On the Republican side, she does have Mr. Sweeky, who is a Dearborn Heights former police officer who's running for this position on the Republican side. Michigan House District. This is a new district. This is, we're going to have a brand new representative. On the Democratic side, we have three candidates who are running for this position. Khalil Uthman, Democrat, Sam Luqman, and Al Abbas, and all provided answers to their questions. And you can go on their website as well. Each one has a website and to know more about the information. Let's take a look. So there is a question here about the credentials on the website. So if you would like to know more about Al Abbas Farhat, you can go to voteforhat.com. He is the former Director of Government Affairs and Specialty Projects for Wayne County. He holds a Bachelor's of Science in Public Health, University of Michigan, Dearborn, Master's in Public Policy, University of Michigan, Ford School of Public Policy. He's expected to graduate from there in 2023. Qualifications and experience. It says Al Abbas Farhat is a public policy analyst who has experience in both state and local government. Farhat has worked on budgets exceeding $1.5 billion and successfully negotiated labor contracts. The other candidate that we have, she is currently a legal administrative specialist and a realtor. Her education is a bachelor's in psychology at U of M Dearborn. Her qualifications and experience, she's a board member of nonprofits and coalitions, community organizer and activist for more than 20 years, pro bono student advocate. She's a former federal civilian employee and also in the public schools for more than 5 years. Khalil is a global cybersecurity manager. He holds a master's degree in information technology and cybersecurity from the University of Detroit Mercy. His bachelor's is from Siena Heights University. Qualifications, the only candidate with extensive 16 years of professional experience, currently leading an IT global team, Stellantis, known as Fiat Chrysler, more than a decade of civic work, married and has 5 kids. I'd like to see some of their answers to the questions. So there was a question about social justice, and that's something that I definitely follow. It says, would you address racial, economic, health, education inequities, including Michigan's 23rd of the children and 17% of the seniors living in poverty? Al Abbas mentioned that his answer is as follows. It has become evidently clear that inequality and equity are in Michigan. Across the state, thousands of people try each day to navigate the system that were built to exclude them. The system issues are that face our state, racism, classism, ableism, are interwoven and interlocking. Once we realize this, we can start to make Michigan work for everyone across all income brackets, ethnicity, races, and zip codes. I will continue to champion legislation and will address these issues and their root and work on finally addressing these systematic problems. Sam Luqman answers the same question, saying, I'm supporting increasing rental assistance programs to help families facing evictions. I support legislation to stop water shutoffs and predatory lending. I support legislation that would define the use of force in policing, define where it can be used, ban chokeholds, and also support or require reporting incidents. I have advocated for a Citizen Accountability Commission. I support increasing the percentage of supplemental funding for at-risk students to ensure educational equity. I'm the only candidate that has and still fighting for and against pathways to prison and ethnic intimidation in our schools and for equity for students and their disabilities even now. We have Khalil Uthman, who also was asked the same question, said there is no doubt that our country and Michigan, there is no exception, will need high-level reform to address the racial, economic, health, and social justice inequities. Understanding the root causes will be the primary factor that will help us as a nation to address these problems in Michigan. Mentally ill inmates comprise about 23% of Michigan's more than 41,000 prisoners. As previously mentioned, I support increased funding for mental health. I will support initiatives that will provide disadvantaged communities with hands-on training opportunities that will jumpstart their career path and for good paying jobs. So those were the answers for those questions. And for full disclosure, I do support Sam Luqman on this race, and I just wanted to make that clear. All right, jumping to the Wayne County Commission race. We have Mr. Sam Baidoun, formerly known as Hassan Nimir Baidoun. He's a Democrat. He's currently holding that seat. Challenging him on the Democratic side is Muhammad Mubarak, who did not provide answers to the questions. You can look him up again on the ballot. On the Republican side, there are two candidates vying for this nomination. One of them is Abdul Latif Al-Jahmi and Miss Ann Clark, and they both provided answers to the League of Women Voters questions, as you can see here. To know more about Abdul Latif, vote aljahmi.com. Ann Clark also has a website called voteforAnnClark.com. Wayne County proposal. We do have a millage on this ballot that no one is talking about, and it's to increase taxes for prison. So if you are in favor, you will vote yes. And if you're not, then you will vote no. This will increase your taxes by 1 mil or almost 1 mil. It's a 94 cents for every $1,000 of your assessed property. So if, say, the assessed property of your house is about $90,000, then that's $90 of taxes. All right, that's pretty much about it on the ballot, on my own ballot. We're gonna see different personalized ballots that we're gonna show. We're gonna have Mr. Rinke call around 8:30 to the program, and we're gonna ask him questions about the race for governor, as that race is being the most watched race in the entire nation. Who will be the governor nomination candidate from the Republican side? Mr. Rinke is running, Mr. Dixon, Mr. Kelly, and other candidates that we will get to know in the next hour or so. We will also have Representative Ibrahim Aiyash join us. So we'll take a commercial break. We'll be back.
Life is a nonprofit charity that's provided humanitarian aid and development to people and communities for over 25 years, regardless of race, color, religion, or cultural background. When disaster occurs here or around the world, Life for Relief and Development rushes in to provide food, medical aid, and shelter to those in need. Please help improve these efforts. Make your tax-deductible donation to Life now at lifeusa.org or call 248-424-7493.
Clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it and you really want to.
5-year-old Lila and her mom are on their way home from Grandma's, singing Lila's favorite song.
Happy and you know it, move your feet.
A few blocks away, 25-year-old Dylan is visiting friends at a small party. He finishes off his last beer,
later, skater,
gets in his truck, and starts for home. Mom and Lila turn onto Maple Street.
If you're happy and you
So does Dylan.
If you're happy and you know it and you really want to show it. If you're happy and you know it, shout hooray, hooray!
Every 50 minutes in the United States, someone dies in a crash involving a driver impaired by alcohol or drugs. If you're impaired and you know it, don't drive. Drive sober. A message from the Michigan Office of Highway Safety Planning.
Get ready for an amazing experience at Ishtar Restaurant on 15 Mile Road in Sterling Heights. Enjoy excellent hospitality from owners Ali Al-Baghdadi and Fatty Bottom, serving the best in Mediterranean food. Try Chef Ali Al-Baghdadi's famous shawarma, the best Iraqi grills and food, and the best Arabic and international dishes. Dine in our authentic atmosphere or take out. Call 586-698-2585 or check us out on Facebook. Ishtar Restaurant practices all CDC guidelines and is open every day 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Have an amazing experience today at Ishtar Restaurant, 3625 15 Mile Road, Sterling Heights. At Top Rehab Physical Therapy Clinic in Dearborn, we provide effective physical therapy sessions in order to limit pain and discomfort. Top Rehab provides physical therapy care for any diagnosis prescribed by a physician, and we regularly see and treat conditions such as stroke, TMJ, fibromyalgia, sciatica, joint pain, and more. We use a variety of pain management methods, including modalities, soft tissue mobilization, and therapeutic exercise. If you're in need of physical rehabilitation or physical therapy, get the highest quality health care at Top Rehab. Most insurance is accepted, and we're open Monday, Wednesday, and Friday 8 to 6, Tuesday and Thursday 8 to 5, and Saturday 10 till 2. Call for an appointment today at 313-846-0555. That's 313-846-0555. Choose Top Rehab Physical Therapy Clinic on Michigan Avenue in Dearborn. Life's too short to be in pain.
Are you going to start a restaurant or a grocery store soon? Do you need floor plans and designs? Call Naji Abood at 734-744-9796. Do you want to buy kitchen and restaurant equipment at discount prices? Call Naji Abood now, 734-744-9796. New Concept Products and Design, the trademark of kitchen equipment. 5% discount on all purchases of $75,000 or more. New Concept Products and Design, new location, 31185 Schoolcraft in Livonia. Learn more at www.newconceptproducts.com. Call Naji Abood, 734-744-9796.
And welcome back, Radio Melody listeners. This is Adel Mozip welcoming you to the show. Today, we're breaking down to you the elections on August the 2nd. It's going to happen this Tuesday. It's the last time that you can cast your vote. And if you are in Hamtramck, if you are in Detroit, in an area where near Hamtramck, you will see a Representative Ibrahim Aiyash on your ballot, and you'll have a chance to vote for him. Ibrahim, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Ibrahim, possible to let the listeners know, obviously with the redistricting happening, no one, or a lot of people are caught off guard of what they see on their ballot. So which areas right now are you vying for?
Yeah, so I currently represent the Michigan State House District 4, which includes all of Hamtramck and a significant portion of Detroit, which includes the Virginia Park, North End, Boston Edison, Midtown, New Center area, as well as some parts of the East Side. The new district is geographically larger, stretching from Hamtramck all the way to Outer Drive to East English Village. And then it goes from Mack Avenue, north of Mack, and about roughly south of McNichols, as well as parts of the Eastern Market area and the downtown area and some parts of Midtown of Detroit. So altogether, there's about 16 neighborhoods, I believe, from the city of Detroit that are in this district. And it's, it takes about 20 minutes to get from one side of the district to another. So it's definitely larger than what we had last time, but we're excited for the opportunity to meet and engage with these new constituents.
Representative, it's been only 2 years since you were in office. Obviously, you did hold the position for a few months, but time passes so quickly. What made you want to do this again?
We want to continue on the progress that we've made. I'm incredibly proud of my record. I'm incredibly proud of the things that I'm advocating for, and there's increased need to have this going. As someone who's been in this now and seen the inside and how it operates, now more than ever, we need public officials and leaders that are committed to really pushing back against corporate interests and all the outside pressures that seek to prioritize their profits and their personal gain over the needs and the social and the common welfare of the people. So it's important for us to really try to figure out, there are so many things that we're working on as you talk about environmental justice, ensuring that we are fighting back against pollution, we're fighting back against the toxicity in our air, in our land, in our water. Those are things that require someone who will champion those issues. And I'm proud of the legislation that I've put forward. We've introduced historic legislation for the state of Michigan, whether it's the Protecting Overburdened Communities Act, which is also known as POCA, or fighting to make sure that we are dealing with asbestos as Detroit will begin demolitions. Those are the things that are important. But then when you talk to people, there's a serious concern about the lack of investment in the neighborhoods. There's not enough support given to local communities, particularly in Detroit. On the east side, there's too much investment in downtown, midtown, and there's not enough investment in the place where people actually live. So, I want to go back to Lansing and continue fighting for those issues, fighting to make sure that working families get the support that they need, ensuring that we're taking care of our air, land, and water, and continuing the fight for social and racial justice in this country and in this state. So we've pushed bold legislation. We have led firmly and with strength, and we have not been bought and sold by the lobbyists. I'm the only politician in the entire state legislature that doesn't take a single dollar from any corporate lobbyist or corporate PAC.
Well, huge respect to that, Representative. I think that takes a lot of courage for somebody to refuse to take, PAC's money from political organizations. Ibrahim, the last thing that you want to tell the voters before they head to the polls on, for those who haven't voted on August 2nd.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
I said the last message to the voters that you want to tell that your constituents who are going to the polls on August 2nd.
Yeah. It's incredibly important that we are going to vote this year. I know there's not enough excitement. It's a midterm year. There's definitely frustration with the top of the ticket. And I've heard this before, Joe Biden is not what we had hoped for and things of that nature. But I just want to remind people and put some context. In the last 50 years, there has never been a Democratic trifecta, meaning that there has never been a situation where the governor, the Michigan House, and the Michigan Senate was controlled by Democrats. So Democrats haven't really had any opportunity to lead the state in the last 50 years. The Republicans have held the Michigan Senate since the 1980s, since Ronald Reagan. I just want to put that in context. We've had Ronald Reagan, we've had George Bush, we've had Clinton, we've had George Bush II. We've had Obama, we've had Trump, we have 7 United States presidents, and the Michigan Senate has been under Republican control. And the Michigan House has been under control for 12 consecutive years. So all the issues that face our local communities, those are the issues that are impacted on the state level: education, infrastructure, water quality and water affordability, local government and municipal sharing. I mean, these are all the things that impact us on the state level. And I just want to give folks that context, that it's easy to say it's the fault of one party, but then when you look at the actual facts, seeing who has been in power and who has set the agenda for the state of Michigan, we now have a real chance to say we need to vote for people that will defend our priorities and make sure that we are uplifting the needs of our community. So Tuesday's the election. You can vote in Hamtramck and Detroit today, Saturday, and Monday from about 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock. In Detroit, it's the Department of Elections. In Hamtramck, it's the City Hall. And then you have all day on Tuesday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Remember, you can't cross your ballot. You have to vote for one political party. So you either pick Democratic or Republican. If you do crisscross, you will invalidate your vote.
Correct. Thank you, Representative Aiyash, for being with us today.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. And listeners, Radio Melody listeners, now we have Mr. Kevin Rinke, who is running also for the Republican nomination across the state. He is from Bloomfield Township and a businessman, well known in the automotive industry, and has been leading the polls neck and neck with another candidate Dixon. So welcoming him to the show, Mr. Rinke.
Good morning, Adel. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Doing great. Great. It's a beautiful day, isn't it?
It's a beautiful Michigan day for sure. So first question, why are you vying for this position? What made you put your name on the hat?
Well, in my lifetime, and I was born and raised in Michigan, I've never seen government as dysfunctional as what we've seen over the last 3.5 years under this administration. We have 3 branches of government in America: an executive, a judicial, and a legislative branch. And the lack of leadership from the executive branch and the unwillingness to work with the legislative branch and the judicial branch has damaged our state. It shut down our businesses. It caused job losses. It shut down our schools. It caused educational and mental health issues that were avoidable. And rather than leaving the state, I decided to fight for the state that my family's lived in since the 1700s.
That's okay. That's great. So what are the main things? I believe in the Detroit Free Press questionnaire, you said and you promised that you will eliminate the state income tax. It brings $13 billion a year. How's that going to help, and how do you will overcome bringing that revenue from elsewhere?
Well, in my opinion, Michigan families know how to spend their money better than government does. And think of this: a family making $50,000 a year in the highest of inflationary times and the highest of cost times over the last 50 years, based on decisions made by Joe Biden and Gretchen Whitmer, I'm going to give them back $2,150 of their dollars to spend as they see fit. See, unlike your previous guest, I believe in smaller government. When you come to America, you want freedom, not government control. You want opportunity, not government restrictions and oversight. You want the opportunity to rise as high as you choose, and you need government to create an environment for you to live in that opportunity, not to subsidize, not to pay for everything, not to keep you safe, like safe and we'll make everybody equal. So whether we like businesses or not, business is what feeds our family. Employment opportunities are what create opportunities for our communities, for our churches. It's part of the American dream. It's why people come here. And I believe that we have, go ahead, Otto.
Yeah, sorry. I just need to make sure that I address one point though. We in the Southeast Michigan area, we have a lot of businesses. We're an industrial place. However, businesses sometimes they what's the word that I want to use? They overcrouch on people's rights. For example, the right to breathe. We have a lot of pollution in Southeast Michigan. That's where business, unfortunately, is not being watched by the people. So how do we put measures, right, to watch these kind of business activities, that you're doing things as you're supposed to be doing, and that you're going by the law and you're not violating the rules? And sometimes the rules could be looked at and be like, for example, EPA standards. They're very loose. They're easy to meet, but you have people dying from cancer because of pollution.
Look, people are going to die from cancer. There's going to be pollution. The United States and U.S. industries happen to be the cleanest industries in the world. China is opening coal burning facilities that are 52% dirtier, one a week.
Right.
Russia has all sorts of pollutants. Look, when we live in urban areas, we create pollution. And government is not going to make a utopia and serve its people at the same time. That's naive. That's not the reality of things. Now, we have rules and regulations, and the EPA, whether you agree or disagree, has created an environment where America is the cleanest industrial country in the world by over 42%. Can we do better? Yes, there's no question. But people in America can choose where they live. And it's disingenuous to say, I move into a neighborhood that has a factory in it, and that factory should shut down because I don't like the noise that the factory makes, or I don't like that there potentially is pollution that the factory makes. You don't have to live there either. And we need
sometimes
factories.
It's not my choice, right? So if you're bringing,
well, no, actually, it is your choice. Why wouldn't it be your choice? People in America can live anywhere.
Right. I understand that. But if you're born into a family that lives next to a factory, just because your parents made that choice, I don't think that's fair to say. But regardless, people have built communities around these factories, and they're not going to move out. That's just the reality. And it's like, I favor business, but how do we draw the line as government to say, hey, business, you could pollute. And by the way, in Southeast Michigan, the problem is not just because some are violating, but it's rather that you have so many, for example, factories all in one area, right? And they do have the money, they do have the technology to control emissions from going to the air. Where we have, I believe, as a people, the right to protect our land, our air, And we need to, you said America is the cleanest. We need to even be better, because there are countries that are better than us, and we need to do better in all categories. Mr. Rinke,
there is not a country in the world that has a cleaner industrial base than America. And if we really want to get cleaner, and you sound like you're concerned with the environment, and so am I, then America should be leading the way in installing modular nuclear reactors. It's the cleanest power in the world. It happens to be the least expensive power in the world, and it's the safest power in the world for the environment as well as the people. So let me ask, are you a nuclear reactor guy that you think we should go all nuclear?
I honestly don't. I'm not a chemical engineer, but I'll tell you something. When you mention the word nuclear, people just think about what happened in countries like Ukraine, right? The Sharpel in 1987. But I don't know much. I just favor energy that doesn't pollute much into the air, and that we have the 21% of the world's freshest water live here in Michigan, or stay here in Michigan, and we need to protect the Great Lakes. So I want to ask you about the Great Lakes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, you can't compare the technology from 1987 in Ukraine in old nuclear reactors. And that's the problem that I have. That's the hypocrisy of, we need cheaper power, but because of something that happened 60 years ago,
well,
we're
in
afraid
Japan,
of that. Let's look at the current. Can I finish, Otto? Or?
Yeah, for sure.
Modular nuclear reactors are the cleanest, safest, most efficient power sources in the world. Europe has them all over. But, we selectively choose things. Now, I'm going to protect our Great Lakes, and our Great Lakes offer us the opportunity to become the most important state, or one of the 5 most important states in all of North America. That doesn't mean that we should, to protect the Great Lakes, say we can't put boats on them and we should all go to sailboats. It doesn't mean that, because of power generation, that we should switch to solar panels or to wind farms, which I find so funny because they are subsidized by government. And by the way, when we dispose of those products that they say are so great, we pollute at a higher rate our environment and threaten our groundwater sources more from those pollutants as we discard them than what we're currently doing.
So sure, I mean, that's for the voters to decide, Mr. Rinke. So I want to know more.
No. If you want government to be involved and government can make the case, you can't say the voters have to decide that. On the one hand, you're saying you want government to control things. And on the other hand, you're saying, well, when government controls it, then the voters should have that choice.
No.
Tell me, what?
You misunderstood. I meant that the voters will decide on which candidates view. Your view seems to be smaller government, hands off. And I think, for me, I believe in small government, but the government needs to be the watchdog when businesses are harming people.
I believe that government should be a watchdog. I believe we need proper regulation, not over-regulation. And so you can have smaller government that understands its role and delivers to the people, but it can't be government that has an answer for every issue. You don't come to America, and my family on both sides were immigrants to this country, okay? You don't come to America to be restricted by government. You come to America to have the liberties and the freedoms, and unfortunately, the biggest, fastest growing entity in our country currently is government, at the expense of those freedoms and liberties. And we need to dial it back before America looks like the country that many people have left because of the oppression and the restrictions that government imposes ultimately in an attempt to make everything fair, everything equal. Freedom has risks, and those risks should be applauded because with risks come rewards, opportunities. That's why people come to America, and you can't have government choke that out. You can't have government control too much. We need private enterprise. We need businesses. And with that, there is going to be a happy median that needs to be reached. And right now, I think government is way overboard in Michigan. And when you look at other states whose businesses are growing, whose populations are growing, whose taxes are going down, versus Michigan, whose businesses are suffering, whose population is declining, and whose taxes are going up because of that loss in population, Michigan's at a point.
Mr. Rinke, thank you so much.
Now, we may never recover.
Thank you, Mr. Rinke, for your time. We truly appreciate it, and we want to be respectful of your time as well. The last word that you want to tell the voters before those who haven't voted.
You know, I'm a business guy, and I believe in government serving the people, not people serving government. I'll identify where government is going to be active, and we'll deliver on infrastructure. We'll deliver on safety. We will deliver on appropriate levels of taxation and regulation. It's not a free-for-all, Otto. I trust me. I respect our environment and I respect our neighborhoods, and we can protect it appropriately. And I'm doing this to run the business of the state of Michigan, and our government's out of control with your tax dollars. It grew $22 billion a year under Gretchen Whitmer in 3 years. $22 billion more expensive.
Thank you, Mr. Rinke. Again, if you are considering to vote for the Republican nomination, Mr. Rinke is on the ballot. Please go and look up the candidates who are also running for the Republican nomination. We do not obviously endorse any candidate on the show, but thank you, Mr. Rinke, for being with us.
Thanks, Otto. You have a great day. And listeners, enjoy Michigan. It's a beautiful day. Bye-bye.
Indeed. We will take the last commercial break and we will come back. So stay tuned.
Ziyad brand. Quality products from our family to yours. Ziyad Brothers Importing offers the finest quality products, including brands like Sultan, Kraft, Nestle, Hook, Rico Picon, Donna, and many more. Ask your retailer to carry these fine products because you deserve the very best. For more information, visit our website at www.ziyad.com. That's www.ziyad.com. Ziyad, quality products from our family to yours.
When you're looking for the best in optical care, Dr. Imad Nakash is your doctor to see. With years of experience and thousands of successful procedures performed, you can trust your eyes to Dr. Imad Nakash. See Dr. Imad Nakash and his professional staff for your eye care needs. There's 2 locations to serve you. In Hazel Park, call 248-336-3937. 248-336-3937. In Rochester Hills, call 248-299-3937. That's 248-299-3937.
Enjoy the first Syrian-style cuisine in Michigan. At Damas Cuisine and Catering, you'll find a wide selection of Syrian foods and sweets in our menu, like frikeh, poisi, grape leaves with steak, mishawi platter, hot mahashi, char-grilled kebab, shawarma, and much more. Get super fast delivery from Damas Cuisine and Catering right to your door. Order online at damascuisine.com/menu and track your order live. Damas Cuisine and Catering, 28841 Orchard Lake Road in Farmington Hills. Call 248-987-4985.
Are your hands feeling numb? Do you feel pain opening up a jar, turning a key? Are you noticing that your elbow and your shoulder are becoming stiff? Or were you recently injured in your arm? Hello, I'm Dr. Abdul Katranji, and at the Katranji Hand Center, which just recently opened down the street from the Somerset Mall, we can provide you with the latest in hand, wrist, elbow, and shoulder care. Visit us at www.katranjihandcenter.com to learn the latest techniques that we have to offer you, and I look forward to taking care of you.
Visit us in Troy at 1565 West Big Beaver Road, Building F, or call Katranji Hand Center for an appointment at 248-869-4263. That's 248-869-4263.
And welcome back, Radio Melody listeners. This is Adel Mozip welcoming you back to the show. Today, we're talking about the elections. August 2nd is the last day where you can go and cast your vote. Please, 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 I'm doing this as a public service announcement. Go out and vote, cast your vote. This is a primary. Not a lot of folks vote in this primary. So your vote weighs way more than it usually does in general elections. In the 10th district, and I'm sharing my screen again for those who are on Facebook. In the 10th district, we do have a very hot race, which is the Michigan 10th congressional district. And if you live in this area, 10th district, you will see that on the election for the Democratic nomination, you have 5 candidates running for the Democratic nomination. You have 2 who are running for the Republican nomination. You even have Libertarian running for this position. So Mike Saliba is a Libertarian who is running for this position, but on the Democratic nomination, Huwaida Araf, Carl Marlinga, Rhonda Powell, Angela Rogenensis, and I'm sorry for butchering your last name there, Miss Angela. Henry Yans is also, they're all running for the Democratic nomination. On the Republican nomination, John James is running, as also as Tony Markinswiz. I believe that's also butchering his last name, but this is a hot race to watch. This is an area where sometimes it's a toss-up. It's a Republican or a Democrat being sent to the U.S. House of Representatives. And I'll leave it up to that. So we've come close to the end of the show, and I want to thank my guests, Mr. Ibrahim Aiyash, who is currently vying for re-election, and Mr. Kevin Rinke, who is running on the Republican side for the governor of Michigan. I want to tell my viewers and also U.S. Arab Radio listeners that we host a lot of folks on the show. I just got messages about why are you hosting Republican candidates? I'm like, this is freedom. This is America. We can host whomever he wants. The Democratic Party does not take us for granted in Southeast Michigan. Unfortunately, this is politics, right? So if you live in California, you always gonna have California voting Democratic in the national elections for president. And if you live in Arkansas or Georgia has changed things a bit. But if you live in Mississippi, for example, you are always gonna send people who are Republican. Texas, same thing. So this is how the country is. Unfortunately, we have 2 parties. And the essence of America's issues is actually the 2-party system. In Europe, they do have multiple parties, and you can actually have more than a choice, more variety, right? If you feel like that you're in the middle. But in this case, you're either a Democrat or a Republican if you go for races that are for statewide or nationwide. So it's your chance right now. If you are an American citizen, and if you live in Michigan, I believe that you have a duty. It's our duty, it's our wajib to go out and vote and practice your Americanism. Being a patriot means that you participate in elections. Don't say, oh, we're gonna elect the same people, or These people have been there forever. I'm sorry. You're giving up your right that way. You're giving up your choice to others to make. So please go out and vote. I say this every election. Every election is important. And in fact, a school board position, which I do hold, is very important to you. City council is very important to you, because these folks make very, very important decisions that impact your life, that impacts your kid's life, that impact your taxes. We were just talking about taxes, right? So if you're very, very cautioning, if you would like to pay attention to the election, make sure that you pay attention prior to going to vote, because voting is very important, but you need to be informed. And that's why vote411.org is a great resource. You can go also to Ballotpedia. Ballotpedia.com has great ways. Google candidates and see what they stand for. And if you share their values, then you can vote for them. And if you don't share their values, then perhaps you vote for their competitors. It came down to this point. So it's been a pleasure. Thank you, everybody. We have Jerry on the line. So sorry. Jerry, welcome.
Mr. Adel, good morning, and thank you for taking my call. And I know you don't have time, but Mr. Adel, we appreciate your work. You've been working very hard to present all those candidates. We appreciate you and Mike Shapka, your producer, and the founder, Mr. Al-Husseini. All I call you, Mr. Adel, to tell everybody in the community, please go and vote, because the primary vote is very important. It doesn't matter, Republican, Democrat, Independent, Liberal. You vote, every vote, it counts. I don't want to take too much of your time. God bless you, Mr.
Jerry, I want to ask you, since you live away from me, which district are you in? Which city are you in?
I belong to the Oakland County, Madison Heights district.
So in Madison Heights, you in Madison, are you there?
We have, I believe, Congressman Andy Levin.
Andy Levin is your as your representative. Yeah. Okay, so that would be.
I vote absentee balance for Miss Huwaida Arraf, because she is very intelligent, a very good lady. In the meantime, I wish good luck for all the candidates from all the side of the aisle.
So Mr. Levin, he's in the 11th district.
He contacts me every time.
Right. So he is
Arraf.
Arraf is in the 10th.
Arraf, 10th. Yeah. And Rashida, I believe she's on 11th district. Congresswoman Rashida Talib, right?
She's in my district now. She's in the 13th district.
Which 13? Oh, 13 still exists.
Yes. It became Dearborn, Dearborn, and you have downriver.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Mr. Adel. I know you are running out of time. Thank you, Mr. Adel, again. Thank Mike Shupka. God bless you. God bless America. Please go on the second and give your vote.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jerry, once again for calling. And thank you to the listeners who tuned in. Thank you very much. Have an amazing Michigan day.